I'm going to show you. You guys keep on talking about food security. Let me just zoom. I don't know if you can see. Here's the countries in terms of food security. As you can see here, they talk about affordability, they talk about availability, they talk about quality and safety. All right. So this is the list of all countries. You can see number one is Finland. All right. So I'm going to show you where South Africa is in terms of food security. All right. Okay. Here is South Africa and Morocco. You can see them 59 and 57, the top two. So South Africa is the second. The source here is global food security index. Global food security index. So that's the source, bro. Yeah, as you can see where South Africa is, right? So this is the food security that you've been talking about, saying that South Africa is actually the 100th. You said that's the Turkey, bro. You can go and confirm it. So now I'm going to show you where your country is because you're trying to waste my time, I see. So this is the bottom of the countries. You see Syria, Haiti, Yemen, where Nigeria is 107th. So you are the 7th hungriest country in the world. You see, now I'm talking about your affordability. Your affordability is 25.0. So you have the lowest affordability in the world. So you telling us that food is cheaper in your country, it's a lie. You see, now affordability is here, availability is here. So you see that you're actually the hungriest country in the world. Syria, Haiti, Yemen, Sierra Leone, Madagascar, Burundi. Here is Nigeria here competing with Venezuela and the rest. So now I'm going to slum because you guys say South Africans are living in slum. So this is the source of Nigerians. How many Nigerians live in slum? It's 50% of your country, 50.2. If you can't believe, yeah, population living in slums, that's Nigeria. You can see here, NG, population living in slums. That's 50% of your population. So you can try. And then you coming here to say as well, you own your oil countries. Look at the countries, the biggest oil countries in your country. The only Nigerian company here is Nigerian National Petrol. Shell is a foreign company. As you can see, ExxonMobil. Let me show you where Exxon is from. American. You see, Exxon is American company. Who else is there? Chevron. Here's Chevron. American as well. You can see EDEX. You know, EDEX is Chinese. You can see here, EDEX is Chinese. So you see, you don't even own your oil. You don't even, you live in slums. 50% of you living in slums, and then you are the 107th in terms of food security. So the lies you've been telling us about here, you come with a tabloid. I'm telling you about global security index. You're actually one of the hungriest countries in the world. So try to debunk this. Let me see.
I'm not even going to try and educate crew on how the oil sector works. It seems like he has no understanding of how people bring money, invest to explore oil. They mine that oil, they spend money, they pay taxes to the Nigerian government to explore the oil, bring it out from the ground or the high sea or wherever, then sell it. It doesn't mean they own it. They pay that money to Nigerian government. That oil, the oil fields are owned by people, individuals, owned by Nigerians, not by the company. I think you should read up on that, educate yourself so that you don't embarrass yourself in public next time. I just wanted to talk about the comparing of economy. I think it's really lame because it's like poor countries comparing themselves. America has a GDP of almost $30 trillion. China has almost about the same, $30 trillion. Nigeria is the first and only African country that has crossed $500 million. South Africa has never crossed 500. The highest they've done is 480. And we all know Nigeria is going through reforms, and over time, Nigeria is going to be the first and only country that will reach $1 trillion economy, GDP. That one is a fact. It's not even debatable. I think most of these people need to really understand economics and how things work, because GDP oscillates. It goes up, it comes down sometimes based on reforms and things that are happening. Things that are happening now will not reflect in our reflecting in our GDP, the reforms that are going on in Nigeria. So that means that the country is experiencing a lot, but that doesn't mean the economy is not buoyant and life is as hard as people are painting it. It doesn't work like that. And comparing the two, I saw a statistic the other day about Black South Africa. The GDP of Black South Africans is about $300 million. the entire black South Africans, which are about less than about 40 million people, is about 300 million. You are comparing it to Nigerians who are also black Africans doing almost 200 billion. How does that make sense? You people produce nothing. You farm nothing. The entire farms in your country, the land alone is owned. Over 70% is owned by whites. And they are the majority farmers. This means if the whites don't farm, this food security this crew is talking about is white people who are doing it. Compare black on black, let's see. White people have been successful. Yes, we have told you about the economy. What have you done as black people? Nothing. You can't feed yourselves. You people are literally the runs of the black race. If white people stop farming today in your country, you're going to farming because you don't even have the skills. Your people have never been into farming. You people have no skills in that. Stop comparing us. We're not
any of those people in those slums. Show me your home. You will see how beautiful their homes are. Go to the rural areas and see how beautiful, what beautiful homes those people who are living in those slums are building in their own homes. Those are just temporary. At the moment, I'm working where I'm working, so I stay near where I stay. I stay near where I work, but I came here for work only. I pay more than 5,000 rand for rent. Imagine someone who's earning like 10,000 rand. Will he pay half of his money for rent, or just pay 500 rands in a shack? Obviously, he's gonna choose a shack. But ask him where he stays. You will understand. More than 70% of people who are living in shacks, they have proper homes, beautiful homes. If you say it's a projection of poverty, then you don't understand how the South African economy is structured. That's all I can say. Just if you come to a country, you should learn their ways, look at how they behave, and try to assimilate. You don't come and destroy, guys. You don't come and destroy. Now you guys are destroying our youth. You are destroying our youth. Really. Thanks.
I want to first of all say that whatever this brother just said about Shanks and those living in it, it's another lie of South Africans that we wake up a dead body. Assuming Mandela bone is still available, you would have waken up because of these lies. And then secondly, I beat my full chest that I will support those Nigerians or any other African foreigners doing crime in South Africa, selling powder. I support them 100%. Because if you can show me any country in this world that a South African is not in jail for crime, powder, or unaliving, or whichever crime inside their prison, then I will say South Africa, nobody should do crime in that country. So, but as long as, and South African children, nobody took them from their mother and forced down powder down their throat. So when you guys make this argument, is a very stupid, uneducated argument that a lot of you are making. That is why you see the world is coming to reality of how knowledgeable, how intelligent a lot of you are. You're complaining about the failure of your parental, parental guidance. You're complaining about the failure of how you failed your children, how you failed to guide them in the right path. And this is why you come here to complain. So I support any African doing crime in South Africa. Do it 100% with your full chest, because they do the same all over the world. And those children all over the world that you go there to do crime, to perpetuate crime, do you think those are not human beings? Or those are giving birth by tree? No, they are giving birth by human being. So they should do crime consistently until your people are recalled from other countries from doing crime. So that is the thing. And then secondly, for people who claim you guys are cruising nicely, no hunger in your country, this is it. This is a hidden hunger in South Africa, and this is how they are going to hide and unalive a lot of you. This is hidden hunger. This is over 20 million South Africans are in hunger. over 20 million. And you can check it. I will give you where you can easily go check or the sources of it. It's not a hearsay. This is just, you see it, over 20 million children hidden hunger in South Africa because a lot of you can't even read or write. Or even if you read, you don't have the comprehension. So there's no way you can comprehend what you read or even understand it, you know. So if you check hidden hunger in South Africa is a lot. You have the Daily Maverick that talked about it. You have the National Institute of Health that talked about it. You have the Oxfam, the Oxfam policy, Oxfam's hidden hunger in South Africa. You also have the World Grain, you know, the World Grain for food that talks about the same thing. But a lot of you guys don't know anything. This is how they will hide and unalive a lot of you, because you will continue to prove to yourself that you guys are doing well. But gradually, you guys will be wiped out of this face of the earth, because a lot of you are very lazy bones of Africa. Our ancestors were fighting for African continent while you guys are busy giving it away and selling us out. So at the end of the day, you guys will soon be over. Your story will soon be over. Just a matter of little time.
Hey, sometimes it's so embarrassing to listen such grown-ups being emotional when they argue their statements. At first, I heard this guy Hood because I wanted to debunk him based on the statistical reports of SARS. There was a spreadsheet that he posted, because at first he conjured up lies and says there's a certain percentage that the tax is collected on based on the black race, of which that's nonsense and that's rubbish. There's no such tax collection. It doesn't involve any race. It's just based on gender and other quantities, not based on race. And the other thing, I heard people saying that no, black South Africans are lazy, but of which we constitute close to the highest number of black middle class in Africa, with a minimum income of 22,000 rand, equating to $5,000 in Africa. So I still don't understand of which we still constitute people of being lazy, whereas South Africa has produced the highest number of black millionaires in terms of dollar and rands. So these things of saying that Nigerians are the most successful people, I still don't understand. Even people can go and check in terms of the stats of I think it's under Statica, the highest living extreme people that live in extreme poverty. Nigeria is rated the highest in Africa with a percentage of 11.3%, and South Africa is way below at 2.1%. So these sources where these guys end up researching it, I don't even understand. They're able to interpret the data that they're actually talking about. What I've also noticed that Hood is such a big liar. He comes up with these not even for sophisticated quantitative modelings in terms of how he makes his percentages and his point of arguments. He lies a lot, bruh. He lies a lot. He thinks he can fool all of us in terms of how intellectual we can interpret data and information. He said, what was he actually interpreting? He said he wanted to interpret this data in terms of the PIT, which is the personal tax income of South Africa, based on the black majority that has been collected, of which he was just saying stuff that he's just he just makes up stuff in his mind and think that all of us are not be able to really understand exactly the information that he's talking about. These guys must just stop coming up on this platform being emotional, talking things out of emotion without being intellectual and then factual about the information that they pose in this platform, because all of us, some of us, we do have access to some of the data or sources that they talk about. But the worst part is that they can't even interpret the data that they are talking about. They come on here just posting recordings of or recordings that play nonsense of something that is totally nonsense.
They said 40-something thousand people. No, it's 1% of their population. More than 1% of their population defecates publicly. They have no toilet, bro, and they have more slums than even Nigeria, and that's on facts. These people can't even build bridge. They can't even build bridge to send their kids to school. They put their kids in gallons. In gallons, and close them and push them in the river. That's how poor these guys are. And you're talking about the Muzungus controlling our oil. That's the biggest lie. Trust me, I can count with my 10 hands, and I can mention 10 names of Nigerians that own oil firms in our country, owned by Nigerians. And again, if you want to do business in Nigeria, a Nigerian must own 50% of that business. A Nigerian must own 50% of that business. So we are unlike you guys, man. We do better in every way. How dare you guys? Please, can South African please name 10 South African company owned by black South Africans that are multinational? What are you talking about? You guys are the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. When we're talking about achievement, please don't even compare yourself with Nigerians. You're talking about eating Nigerians eat dogs in South Africa. I'm in my car right now, so I really can, I don't have my laptop with me, and so I can even show you guys some stacks that I have here, and I can't read because when I start reading, then my screen, then my screen becomes then you guys can hear me, because then it pauses. But listen, these guys, there are Chinese restaurants in their countries that sell dog food, and is legalized. So tell me, who are the people eating those dog food in your country? And again, we also need to state the fact that eating human being in South Africa is legalized as well. So all these things you guys are projecting on Nigerians, it's what you guys do. You guys eat dogs. You rape dogs. You rape dogs. You rape dogs. There were cases where rats eat your kids. What are you talking about? You guys have more shanks. You want to talk about Alexander? In every cities, or rather in every region in South Africa, there are more than 10 shanks. And slums, you're talking about Makoko. What are you talking? Name how many slums are in Nigeria. You guys have more than 200 slums.
A Human Sciences Research Council study has shown that South Africa is experiencing severe food insecurity across the country. Contrary to the view that South Africa enjoys food security at a national level, the HSRC's Professor Thokozani Simelane says over 43,000 households were sampled in each district in the country since 2019.
The significance of this report is that the survey itself is first of its kind since 1994. So it really gives a clarity or a clear picture as to how people are hungry and what is it that people are doing with regards to improving the status of food security in the household level. And I'm sure and I hope that once we have done the presentation, as they hand over to the Premier of the province, and then we will be able to get an insight as to what is the severity of food security in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. This has been a very intense study in the sense that we were expected to find out the status of food security at a household level, and we are also expected to determine the nutritional position of the household, where we have to sample the children as well as also bring communities together to discuss the issues of food insecurity. So that methodology, we call it a household economic approach. So all that combined has taken us more than 3 years. So this is the report that derived from the extensive data collection that took 3 years.
This is so inhumane, to be honest. This is so inhumane. I'll just pause here. Yeah.
again, yeah, I'm gonna say this: the data you just or whatever you just played, I don't even know the source. That's why it's good to always say, the source of whatever you're presenting. It says over 30 million Nigerians pretty much are living in well, what did he say? Hunger. Now, if you divide that figure by the total population of Nigeria itself, it's about 8%. 8%. Right, so the data presented says 11% of South Africans themselves are living in hunger themselves. Right, so I do respect your opinion on not wanting to compare who's more hungry and who's not more hungry and whatnot. Yeah, I do get that. And aftermath, I just wanted to speak to you quick about something, right? People are not invalidating individual experiences of South Africans. Your experiences are valid. No one is trying to invalidate it or saying that you're not going through criminality or that you're not going through all these things. No one is saying that. All we are saying is that far too many times we've seen your people come up here to say the majority of our people are doing these things to you, which is not true. So hence the pushback. That is why we're pushing back against this. It can't be the majority of our people, especially if you don't have the data to back it up. That is why data comes in. If you're going to say the majority of Nigerians in South Africa are doing these to South Africans, then you sure hell have to prove it with some sort of data. That is what we're saying, right? We do recognize that some Nigerians are criminal elements. Some of them are. We're not saying all of them are saints. All of them are perfect. That's not what we're saying. We know that some of them are doing these things. When your people come on here and say 60% of Nigerians are doing these things, all Nigerians are powder dealers, but they can't back it up. They can't show me data to back up their claims. So this is where we stand here. I'm not trying coming here to say or to invalidate your individual experiences, but oftentimes individual experiences don't often tell the full story. In order for you to capture the full story, you need a data system that collects information on a broader scale, so then you can be able to quantify it and make sense out of it. Right, like I was saying before I got cut short about about that tweet that Van Persie put out, right, talking about no one came to South Africa's rescue after the Sharpeville massacre. That is false. That is categorically false. That is categorically false in a sense that after the Sharpeville massacre, Nigeria set up the Southern Relief Fund. Nigeria set up the Southern Relief Fund, and especially after the Soweto massacre, we took in hundreds of South Africans on scholarship to come study in Nigeria. We created an ANC office in Lagos in which we financed and sponsored. We pressured the United Nations to form an apartheid commission, which Nigeria chaired for 30 years. But you want to come here and say no one did anything. We supported your resistance against the apartheid government. We supported your rebellion movement. We trained your troops. Your rebellion movement. We trained your troops in Angola. We supplied them with military training and weapons in Angola. But you want to come here and say no one helped you. We held the largest anti-apartheid conference in Lagos. Go read about these things. I'm not just making them up. So don't come here and talk about what you don't know. Jesus Christ, this is getting retarded. We actually stayed the execution of Nelson Mandela. We successfully kicked apartheid South Africa out of the the Commonwealth.
Yeah, it's done. So I think you're going to address what I sent you last time, the Global Food Security Index. But since you don't want to say something about it, that means we move. You agree that your country is the 7th hungriest country in the world. And geez, he left. So you agree that your country is actually the 7th hungriest in the world, and then South Africa is the most food secure country in Africa. So now I want to say something about Nigerians that have been, some lies that Nigerians have been saying here. So you talked about you guys coming back, making a comeback with your GDP. I want to show you something about your GDP here. Okay, I want to show you something, right? This is the data, the latest data of 2025, right? It's GDP. So you see the GDP list. I don't know if something is wrong with my camera or something, but yeah, I think something is. Okay, yeah, it's right. Now you see the GDP, it has been updated. You see South Africa is number 1, Egypt. Nigeria moved from 4th place to 5th place. Don't worry about the 6, 7. This is like a typical error. But then you see Nigeria is 5th. And then the GDP of your country moved from 250 billion to 199. And then you guys are going to say this is Wikipedia. I'm going to show you how this is truthful. All right. This is your GDP per capita now. It's 876. If you look at it, it's GDP per capita. If you look at the GDP per capita, it's 876. That's 2025. And then you guys are going to say, oh, Wikipedia can just be edited. Let me show you what your country said not so long ago. Okay. This is something that was posted, that was reported by CGTN in Africa. Nigerian GDP per capita falls to US dollar 835. That's what your government said. That's what your National Statistics of Bureau said. It said that your GDP per capita has decreased to 800. What you had the last time the GDP has been updated, it was something like 1,000. So now this 800 matches with this 800 of these statistics. You see, you have not regained your position. You have actually gone lower. You are actually one of the poorest countries. You have actually one of the poorest, poorest performing economies in Africa. So again, you guys said, who is this guy, Fred, and the other guy that talked about slum rates and said South Africans are pushing propaganda against Nigeria. So this is something that was posted by World Population It's a World Bank. You see, World Bank says that the population of slum dwellers, let me tell you something, the people that are living in slums in Nigeria. Let me show you ways, and I still have a couple of seconds. Ways, and okay, here is Nigeria. You can see here is Nigeria. Here, Nigeria. You see the population of slum people that live in Nigeria is 49%. It was updated last in 2020. So this is World Bank. Just in case you say fake news, this is World Bank. It says in 2020 the population of Nigerians living in slums is 49%. So now with the seconds left, let me show you where South Africa is. Let me not waste any time. This is South Africa. This is South Africa. The population of South Africans living in slums is 24%, and it was last updated in 2020. So again, I'm debunking with this guy's lies that South Africans all live in slums, and South Africans and this lie that Nigeria has regained this position. You have not. You have lost more, and then more people in your country live in slums than South Africans. So hoodwall or hoodlum, whatever. I wish you can come back and debunk this as well. Yeah, I'll be waiting for you.
We launched last week at the People's Pantry, and so it's not just a rural problem, we also have hunger in urban areas. Last week at the People's Pantry in downtown Joburg. So it's not just a rural problem, we also have hunger in urban areas. The People's Pantry is one of those wonderful NGOs that's supporting communities with food kitchens, with nutrition education, with educating people on their right to food and so on. And the Union Against Hunger was really formed because we feel that it's outrageous that there is so much hunger in South Africa, that children are dying of malnutrition in South Africa in 2025. You know, it's 30 years since the transition to democracy.